La invasión de Ucrania por Putin ha impuesto serias consecuencias a todo el planeta. ¿Cómo esperan sus líderes resuelvan la crisis?
El presidente Trump no hubiese permitido esta guerra. Al no estar aliado a la OTAN, los europeos no hubiesen confrontado a Putin.
El presidente Biden, con el Congreso bipartita, ayuda a la OTAN a proveer asistencia al país invadido injustificadamente por Rusia. Ni los diálogos ni sanciones han detenido a Putin de cometer la matanza y destrucción a ucranianos. ¿Qué más harían sus candidatos para detener esta masacre?
Trump, que es amigo íntimo de Putin, sentaría a ambos bandos a dialogar y acabar la guerra, quedándose Rusia con lo que conquistó y abandonando la idea de unirse a la OTAN.
Biden invitó a Putin a dialogar, y en vez se unió a Irán y bombardea a civiles sin piedad. ¿Qué solución tienen que sea real, para acabar este conflicto? Obligar por la fuerza a Ucrania a regirse por los caprichos de Putin, tendría consecuencias porque desea dominar todo lo que era de la Unión Soviética. Ucrania ni Rusia pueden ganar por la fuerza esta guerra iniciada por Putin, y se dice que Putin está fuera de sus cabales.
Y el presidente nuestro, está viejo y enfermo, debe retirarse.
Qué irrespetuoso con los mayores de edad. ¿Acaso Zulaide o Putin son menores? Esta guerra es entre Rusia y Ucrania. La OTAN defiende sus intereses en Europa.
They abandoned stage, cause red offended and bullying the president, and blue, did not tolerate such conduct, we neither. So our new team will respond. How your party leader proposed to end this war. The friendship of Trump with Putin may help, but we recognized, at this level of the conflict, our nation needs to keep by the side of OTAN, and watch none to be hurt. Our president has remained out of the war field, unless us, or any of the OTAN been hurt by Russia. We have a big debt ever, and still COVID affects our economy. How your leaders offers to deal with economy. Our nation should be our priority, and not the others' world issues. Help is measure as we cannot give if we do not have. For first time in years, our president had made payments to the debt. The pandemic effects are in control after all measures. Our people has received the most help in years to deal with pandemic and weather's impacts on individual economies. Actions and not promises, that's the deal. What are the plans to deal with the recession? People needs to work hard and use their finances with caution. The nation priorities will been first. Help to the OTAN shall been equivalent as others and no more. A reassessment of our priorities to minimize the effects of the recession in the pockets of our people. Preparedness in the event of escalation of war, to protect our nation of any unexpected impact, directly or indirectly. The menace of nuclear weapons is not feasible as means death and disappearance of 1/3 of the planet. The only way to end this means good faith from leaders, to sit and talk with monitors. After stop all aggression from both sides. Yes, Putin talks but he goes for his goals, and Ukraine will not accept to be treated as a Russian colony. Our leaders has to present plans to deal with our own issues after the pandemic, and with the consequences of the. Putin has been erratic on his war strategies, but when he menaces with his plans, he goes for it. In spite a nuclear attack is unacceptable for the damage to all the planet, we are prepared to respond, with strongest measures that will not harm the planet but stop his madness. All strategies to stop this madness and protect our nation has the approval of the Congress. As we act joint as a nation, no one shall put in risk our nation's stability or safety. If there is something all nations and Putin shall remember, is that our nation is a democracy with elections and respect for results. In spite political differences, when we deal with our defense, we all are one in the United States. As such, no one can think is possible to divide us in terms of our nation's safety and defense response. Why Russia invades Ukraine after Putin denies it? Why is killing civilians and destroying even non-military zones? We defend our people at Ukraine, from neo-Nazis. Why killing kids, women, violating all their rights? You know well, this is a lie as no one in Ukraine is Nazis. Putin menaced the world with using nuclear weapons, as he lost the war against Ukraine. In politic times, people try to convince others, some with truth, others with lies or fake news. But history cannot be changed, as now all is recorded and in the networks. The red says, War is due to the blues. What's the truth? Our nation was in danger by the menace of our near frontiers. Been allied to the OTAN, we defends our territory. The facts: Putin menace Ukraine if attempt to join to the OTAN. Is it all over the networks? What's the position of the Reds about Putin's? Russia invades and are destroying Ukraine for the uranium and metals, as well as an ambitious plan of Putin for the dominion of old territories of the URSS. He failed as Ukrainians defend and will win the war, unless Putin destroy and disappear they, with nuclear power. Russians are against all this as manifested, but Putin place in jail protesters. Are anyone in this world can be in favor of Putin lies and madness? The nuclear war will happens, if the OTAN helps Ukraine win this conflict. Putin war against Ukrainians may end by a retire of his troops from all Ukrainian territories, or by a crazy action toward a nuclear Armageddon. What's the blues and red postures on this conflict? As a joint effort by the Congress, money was sent so Ukraine defend against Putin invasion. Nowadays, some of our leaders' belief is time to end the conflict by let Putin stay with some of the invaded territory, to avoid nuclear. Ukraine will not accept that. The President with the Congress consent, conscious Russia invades Ukraine against all laws, send help to OTAN, who agree to help Ukraine defend themselves from the invasion. Putin has been losing, decides to destroy by any means Ukraine, even with nuclear weapons. So OTAN and United Nations less 5 countries, decides to protect their territories and keep help to Ukraine. In an attempt to dissuade Putin, the President invite Putin to talk. Instead, Putin and Iran joint, attack civilians. Our Red President candidate, do not believe in being part of OTAN, as he is friend of Putin. He may seat with Putin to avoid escalate of the war, offering some alternative. It is a more serious situation, between 2 nations, and 94 countries against Putin invasion. Remember, he wants all back, meaning, all countries at URSS. Is not a business matter solved with money. Putin wants to have by force all. On 2022, it is unacceptable as money cannot buy nations. In the conflict, solutions can only achieve by serious talks between parts. But first stop the battles. Then seat and talk. Hopefully at least all will win time to cool down, as nuclear is not solution to anybody. More deaths with heavy weapons is not solution. Here in the middle of politics. Our people shall not let been confuse using this war with lies or fake news. Remember, until now we are not part of this war in the front. If there is something all nations and Putin shall remember, is that our nation is a democracy with elections and respect for results. In spite political differences, when we deal with our defense, we all are one in the United States. As such, no one can think is possible to divide us in terms of our nation's safety and defense response.